Hi, everybody. Leon Thomas here with Miranda Kitterlin Lynch. We are the host of Checking In. Welcome to our show, Miranda. It's good to see you again. How's everything?
Good to see you too. It's Friday today while we're recording, so happy Friday or happy
Right on.
Friday.
Friday?
Yeah,
What's that mean? Friday.
happy Friday. Yay!
Oh, Friday. Okay. Sorry. I get it now. Friday. I was thinking, I don't know why my mind was going towards fried fish.
Oh,
I don't know why. I
well, Lent is over here in South Louisiana, so otherwise it would be a fish day. Yeah.
Would be a fish day, right on. Yeah. So, on a previous episode when we came on in our intro, I asked what number show it is, right? And I think,
Yes.
I don't know, you said 85 or 87. I said 82, 83, whatever. Um, we still don't have an official count.
Okay, so what did I say? 85?
I can't remember. We'll have to roll the tape to find out. I don't know.
Well, I'm going to go one more of whatever it was last time.
One more because this one, it's on. Okay. That's good. That's good. Right on. So we'll figure it out. But starting with this episode, we're back on podcast platforms.
Yay!
So everywhere that folks want to check out a podcast on Spotify, Google, Amazon, Apple, wherever it is, we're going to be there. So folks, make sure you tell a friend. In fact, tell your enemies that check out checking in on the podcast. Yeah,
Yes.
right on. So one more thing. I just want everyone to stick around to the end of the show because when we get to our three signature questions today, there
Oh, God.
might be, again, there may be a bean pie tasting today. We may do that on this episode. You'll have to stick to the end of the show to see. Just saying.
Did you go out and print a fake label and just put it on a pie?
Oh wow, everything is fake. If I could ask the producers to give us a single shot on this to zoom in on that. Look at it. Let me turn it here. Look at that. Zoom in right on in that would be some serious work to get this label done.
I mean,
However, with AI, all things are
I was about to
possible.
say, as we've seen on national news, Photoshop is very convincing.
Wow. We'll see. We'll see how it
I'm
goes.
excited.
Right on. So our guest today, who do we have on the show?
Well, I'm not going to introduce our guest. I'm going to let him introduce himself. But if anybody's been listening, they're going to recognize him. He's joining us for the first time ever as a third time guest on Checking In. How cool is that? So
Right
obviously, we're
on.
super excited to have him, but we also
Yeah.
really thank him for his support.
Yes, absolutely. Let's bring our guest on. Mr. Brooks, Horace T. Brooks, how are you?
I am fantastic. How are you both?
Yeah, outstanding.
Amazing.
It's good to be here. So how does it feel? You're the first three-time guest.
I feel honored.
Yes.
Feel
And
honored.
The honor is ours.
yes, it is. It is great to have you here. Now let's see. We had one episode where it was Maria and Miranda. We were both here. Then I think on one of the episodes I wasn't here,
Correct.
Mhm.
right? And did you guys talk about bean pie on that one? I think that's where it started with fake news. I don't know. We'll have to roll the tape on that.
I don't think there's ever been an episode of Checking In where we haven't discussed bean pie, at least
Okay.
in the past year, if not two.
Okay. You're right. You're right. We'll accept that. We'll accept it.
So, before we go any further, for anybody listening that's joining us for the first time or who has not had the pleasure of meeting you, would you mind sharing with our listeners who you are and what you do?
So my name, as we mentioned, my name is Horace T. Brooks, and I'm again so honored to be here for the third time. I'm a hotelier, but I'm also a leadership and customer service expert. And my responsibility, I feel, is to give the knowledge and the foresight to those who maybe the miss my voice, to let them know what it is exactly when it comes to customer service, and especially what it is when it comes to leadership, which is something that I look forward to speaking to about today. Because leadership is critically important in every aspect of life. I'll speak to that today when I get into it.
That's fantastic. And I want to add, and I'm sure those who have heard you on our podcast before have heard me say this, but Mr. Brooks has been a guest in my live classes for several semesters. It has always been one of the most impactful guest visits. I never have a semester that he visits that multiple students won't come up to me and just tell me what an impact it has made on their perspective, on their plans for the future. So everybody listen up, because this man is about to drop some pearls of wisdom.
Yeah.
So, Horace, tell me briefly, if you could, what got you into your passion for leadership? I know that you've held many leadership roles in your career, but what is it that drives you to want to be in that area and to motivate and teach and encourage others?
The main thing is because I've seen it gone so wrong. I've seen persons put in leadership positions, given a title, and the performance has been so far from stellar, it's unbelievable. I've seen persons put in leadership positions that don't understand what truly a leader should be. They don't have the tenets of leadership. They don't understand that leadership is about people, not processes. I've seen it gone in many aspects of life, many professional realms, so wrong, and to the detriment of the ladies and gentlemen that he or she is supposed to be leading. And as someone who has been in a position, in 92% of my career, 92% of my career, I've been in a leadership position. And I've been fortunate that I think I've done it the right way. Not because I said I've done it the right way, but because the ladies and gentlemen that have led have demonstrated to me, and I've literally feel like service that tells me that I have done it the right way. And there are a few things that I'm more passionate about than this one. And leadership to me has to be done the right way, especially now, where with the shortages that we have of ladies and gentlemen looking for jobs. If you don't lead right, if leaders don't lead teams right, teams are gonna walk away because they have many opportunities to do so now, especially since COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree. I think now more than ever, our industry is shifting in a way that I think is healthy for everyone involved, in that people are really placing themselves as a priority instead of just following along with, I'll say, poor leaders, for lack of a better word, just to keep a job, right? Because there's so many jobs out there that they can just go out and get with great people to lead them in those roles. So yeah, absolutely. Leon?
When you talk about leadership, um, and you mentioned that you've seen it done wrong, what does leadership mean to you? When someone says I'm a leader of an organization, or we look at someone and say they are a good leader, what are some attributes? What are some things that you look for that would indicate to you that that person is a good leader?
First of all, a title does not make anyone a leader, and people that are put in those positions need to understand that because you have a title means nothing. When I became the general manager of the hotel that I run now, I immediately became the least most important person in that building. The least most important person on staff was me. Good leaders understand that, and good leaders model certain attributes that are across the board. The number one attribute that a leader should have, if a leader doesn't have this attribute, he or she cannot lead effectively. And we're not talking about managing, we're talking about leading because we lead people, we manage processes. A leader must care. That is the basis of it. If you don't care about the people that you lead, you will not be effective, you will not be successful. Because ultimately, the associates you lead are human beings, and they want to know that their leader care about them. If they know for sure that you care about them, they will go to hell and beyond for you and the operation and to make sure you succeed. Another attribute that a leader must have, integrity, because they must know when they're with you, when you're leading them, that you're going to stand for something all the time. You're not going to be wishy-washy. You're not going to be change your mind today for the same thing from yesterday. They must know you have integrity. And there's some other attributes that I mentioned, but it's one I want to mention as the last one I want to mention. A leader must have a vision and must be able to communicate that vision to the people that he or she leads. That is critical because there comes a time in that leadership where you have to determine whether you're going to be on the hilltop leading your troops or you're going to be down in the dungeon with them fighting the battle. And that comes from the vision that you have and how you're going to execute it, how you're going to get them to be on board with you. Those are some of the attributes a leader should have. That's what I look for. When I see those attributes, I know we're well on our way to being successful with the person that may be leading me or the person that may be leading other teams. When they don't have those attributes, oftentimes they don't succeed.
Yeah, that's great advice. I was just writing down some notes because every time I hear you speak, I write down notes because I truly take something away every time. So you mentioned having a vision. What do you think is the best way or the most effective way for a leader to communicate their vision to their team?
It should be communicated to the team in its entirety at one time, but then you have to go to the person individually because everyone receives information differently. Everyone may not understand exactly what you were saying the first time, but when you get down to hit that person's level and make sure that they say you should be able to explain something to an eighth grader who walks in the room and never heard about the subject matter before. Explain something to an eighth grader who walked in a room and never heard about a subject before. And if you can do that, then you can get to every member of your team and treat them as the individuals that they are, explain to them. And guess what? It may take more than one time or two times to explain. It may take 3, 4, or 5. But whatever it takes, it's critical that they understand the vision because you can't have 6 members of your team going one direction and 4 members of your team going the next.
Mhm.
That'll be the most ineffective demonstration of leadership that I've seen. So it's like have a rally, a meeting, bring the vision forward, but then understand that you have to go back to the individuals themselves to make sure they understand. Because in the rally, they may say, yes, we all understand, and then they walk away confused. It's incumbent upon you as the leader to make sure each individual gets that attention they need and be understanding what the vision is. And then you can go forward and be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I can't imagine a more frustrating experience than being at work and being unclear, right? Especially about something as important as my leader's vision because if I'm not sure and not clear about it, how can I support it and get on board with it, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So, let me pivot a little bit. In your career, I know that you have had some great mentors and some great leaders. Is there one particular amazing leader that has helped shape and develop you that you'd like to give a shout out to?
There's one person that more than others. There are others, but there's one individual who gave me an opportunity when I was honestly I was too young to be given this opportunity, but he did it anyway. I was again too young for the position. Um, but the former governor I'm from the United States Virgin Islands, St. Thomas to be specific, and there was a gentleman elected to be governor of the Virgin Islands who was actually one of my professors in college, but he and I never said anything to each other. He was elected to be the governor of the Virgin Islands, and 6 months into his administration, he hired me. And the title he gave me was his confidential assistant. And no one has ever gotten that title before, no one has ever gotten that title since. And I was basically left to be his right and left hand. I was working with people that were 30 years older than I was. When I walked in, they said, did you just graduate from high school? I spent 7.5 years with Governor Charles W. Turnbull, who was honored as one of the 100 top alumni from the University of Minnesota, where he went to school. And as his right and left hand, I learned so much. I became a history buff. I was a novice in government, no more. He taught me what leadership was, the impact caring can have on an operation, how everyone must be treated as individuals, how you must treat people as employees, employees second, and people first. He taught me so much in that 7.5 years that I can never, ever be afforded such an opportunity again. It was the best 7.5 years of my professional life so far, honestly speaking. And I just give him all the credit because he took a chance on me. He and I had a 2-minute conversation before he decided to hire me. And because of him, I am who I am today.
That's amazing. What?
Oh,
Amazing. Go ahead, Leon. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, that is just great. Yeah, that you number one that you recognize now the value that he brought to you. That is just great. There's some folks for me too I'll call out here. um Craig Poole, who's been a guest on our show. Mark Zelaznik, who we're still trying to work out a time to get on our show. He's gone and retired, so now he says he doesn't have time. It's hard to schedule him because he's traveling everywhere. But Mark Zelaznik, Lee Peck, and Brenda Rayleigh. Definitely some folks that had an impact on me. Now there are folks that also had a negative impact on me, and I'm not going to mention your name.
I
Okay,
was
but now
ready.
now if you want to know why I didn't mention you, it could be that you had an impact on me. Your name just didn't come to my mind right now. Okay, but there are others that I see you like some of the content here, and maybe I didn't mention you. Call me, let me know. I'll tell you, you were not good to me. Okay, I'll tell you that. I'm not going to say it publicly, but I'll tell you privately. Okay, that's my rant. I get a rant per show. That's my rant. Folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Leon Thomas here with Miranda Kidden Lynch, and our guest on checking in is Horace T. Brooks. We're talking about leadership and the importance of it. We'll be back to continue our conversation with Horace right after this short break.
Announcing the newest show from the Leon Thomas Group, Cooking with Kids in the Kitchen.
Each week, we're going to have kids on the show in their home kitchen, showing us their culinary expertise right here on Cooking with Kids in the Kitchen. If you know of a kid that would be great to have on Cooking with Kids in the Kitchen, contact Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group.
His email address is leon@theleonthomasgroup.com.
That's leon@theleonthomasgroup.com.
Cooking with Kids in the Kitchen.
At Rod's Car Repairs, we work on all cars, old cars, new cars, and your car. Car Repairs by Rod.io.
Baked by Brianna has been your Baltimore hometown bakery since 1969. Located in Roxton Plaza, Baked by Brianna. Visit bakedbybrianna.io.
From the creative team that brought you The Browning Project and Dead by Morning comes a new thriller that will change the way you look at white-collar crime forever. Falling from the Sky.
I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group. Podcast, virtual events, webinars, streaming shows, and so much more. We want to be your partner in all things virtual.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Checking In. Leon Thomas and Miranda Kitterlin Lynch here with our guest today, Horace T. Brooks. Horace, it's good to have you with us again. We're talking about leadership. I think sometimes folks really get leadership wrong in terms of what a leader is supposed to do. I worked for someone, one of those bad leaders, and all they did was "Arr!" They just barked all the time, right? You did something wrong. "Arr!" They just barked. And someone else in the organization said that person was a good leader. And
Yeah.
I was young in the hotel business, and I thought, oh, that's what I have to do to get promoted to go into leadership. I just have to learn how to bark at people. I later found out that's not how it goes. Where does that come from that folks don't understand what it is? Help us understand it. Where does this come from?
I think it comes from history where once upon a time that was the way to get things done. We have transitioned from that such a long time ago. It is really ineffective now to have that kind of leadership style. Yes, you may get one or two things done, but looking long term, it's very ineffective. Employees don't need to be barked at. Employees need to be, if they need to be reprimanded, or if they need to be, corrective actions or whatever, we do so fairly and consistently. But nowhere in leadership is that necessary anymore. It's ineffective. You lose, and that's how you lose good employees. Because most employees don't quit a company, or they quit a manager. They don't quit companies. They walk away from the management. That leadership style is way outdated and totally unnecessary.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree with you that I believe it is historical, especially stemming back as far as the times of dictatorships being the most prevalent leadership styles in society, right? So if I could ask you, I know we have to get to our signature question soon, and we have to see Leon eat this fake bean pie. But I do want to ask you, for any of my students or anyone who's early in their career or early to a leadership position, especially if you're fairly young, right? It can be intimidating. And especially if you're being asked to lead others who are perhaps older than you or have more experience in the company than you, right?
Yes.
What is one thing that someone listening right now, early in their career or early into a leadership position, could take with them to implement in order to be more successful? And I think we said so many great things like coming into the room barking is not the way to command respect, right? What else could someone do to maybe invest in themselves? Is there any training, any self-improvement, anything they can learn? What's one thing that you would say, do this right now and you'll be a better leader moving forward?
And this may not be educational wise, but one thing I would say to any new leader who comes on board, has a team, whether the team is 5 persons or 50. And I've run teams of 50 persons before. I work with multiple departments, and everyone has their own focus, their own agenda, and their own personality. The one thing I would say is invest in having one-on-one meetings with your team. Now you might say 50 persons, that's so much of my time. Your responsibility is the team that you lead. Invest in having one-on-one meetings with your team. If it's once a month or even once every quarter, that is some of the most valuable information you're ever going to receive, because they're going to tell you things that you never knew were happening, things that you never know are going on, things that you never heard, and they're going to feel vested more in operation because you take the time to be with them personally for that one-on-one. Like I said, it could be every month or it could be every quarter. That's the advice I would give, because the more your team feel like you care about them as an individual, the better performance you get from them as a team and a whole.
That is such good advice. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. I love that. Go ahead, Leon.
All right, it's time for our signature questions of the show, and you may have already answered some of them. So we're going to put a twist on some of those questions. So, Horace,
Yes.
you have a pen handy, and if you don't have a pen, let's kind of pretend that you do. So if you have one, bring it on up. If you don't, just pretend,
Okay,
just
I'll pretend.
to have one. All right, here we go. Bring it up. If you don't, bring your imaginary pin on up into the screen. All right, and we're going to give us all signatures, and we're going into those signature questions of the show. Here we go. Signature question. All right, we're throwing a twist in. And there may actually only be 2 signature questions this time. Because we actually usually have 3 crab cakes, bean pie, and Miranda asked a question about advice. But we're going to throw a curveball in on the first question. We're not talking about crab cakes. We're not going to do that. We're not talking about bean pie. So for those of you who waited to see if I would eat bean pie on the show, you'll have to wait to the next episode of Checking In to see me eat bean pie.
What? You're going to make us all wait?
Everybody has to. Now, if someone wants to see, we do have an episode out there that started airing the week of April 28th. That there is a bean pie tasting episode out there where we had a bean pie tasting at the Hilton Baltimore BWI airport. So you can always contact me. I'll send you the direct link to it. It's available on Miranda's LinkedIn, my LinkedIn, the Leon Thomas Group YouTube. It's out there if you want to see bean pie tasting. But if you want to see me taste bean pie, you have to wait for a future episode. I'm not popping this open today because the signature question is this. Horace.
Yes.
Do you play pickleball or racquetball? Which is your sport, pickleball or racquetball? Which one?
I play neither.
Okay. You're good so far. You're good. Now, if you had to choose between pickleball and racquetball, I'm sorry, let me influence your answer a little. If you had to choose between pickleball or racquetball, which one would you select?
I'm going pickle.
Pickle?
I am.
Pickleball?
I am. I'm going with the wave. I'm going pickleball.
Oh no. It's the third and last time.
Our to the audience, our shows are pre-recorded. If you're seeing this one, it's because we decided to go ahead and run it. But usually someone says they're a pickleballer. Can our producers demonstrate what happens when someone says, "Hey, I'm in the pickleball, not racquetball"? Producers, go ahead, do your thing. That's right. They are banished from the studio. They're done. But Horace, you're a friend of the show. Let's bring him back on. All right, so it's pickleball. We'll have to get your mind changed on that. And Horace and everyone, check out Racquetball Revival to find out all the really good things that the kids in that program in Baltimore, racquetballrevival.com. Okay. Thank you, Horace.
Thank you.
Horace. Thank you. Pickleball. Go ahead, Miranda.
Just take a deep breath, Leon. Just breathe, let it out. So, Horace, I'm going to keep it simple. And I know that you've answered this question before, but I also know that sometimes the answer changes depending on the experiences we've had since we last answered it. And I apologize, my dog is weighing in the background. So my question for you to close us out is, if you could go back in time and give your 20-year-old self one piece of advice, pearl of wisdom, affirmation, anything, what would it be?
Plan and execute. Don't wait so long and be procrastinating on anything. Plan and execute. Don't wait so long to procrastinate on anything.
You know what? I'm going to take that with me throughout my weekend because there's so many things that I want to procrastinate, and I'm almost 45. So I wish you had been there to tell me that back in my 20s. This is great advice. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Leon, did you have anything else you wanted to say? Have you recovered?
I am okay. I am okay. I'll survive. Yes, I'm good. I'm good. And what makes me feel better is that Horace is a three-time guest on our show, right? So that there's some ease to that, right? And that we communicate, we see each other's posts on LinkedIn and so forth, and we support each other. So that's a win also. But the big thing is the value or that you bring to the show, right? Value of leadership and where your passion is and being willing to share it here is something that I applaud you for and thank you for doing so.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you both.
Yes.
Always a pleasure to see you.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. So Miranda, another really great show with a great guest. I just love hearing from him, particularly about leadership, and I hope others contact Horace, right? And let's display his information again to make sure that everyone knows how they can get in touch with him. You can go to his website, HoraceTBrooks.com, to get in touch with him, and you can also find him on LinkedIn as well. Some great information comes out there. So I look forward to everyone contacting him. And folks, if you'd like to be a guest on Checking In, or you know someone that should, you can contact me, Leon, at theleonthomasgroup.com. And Miranda,
Don't make me say it.
you can just search her name.
Just, yes, type it into your favorite search engine. I'm very hard to hide, very easy to find.
And just one more thing, real quick. Someone texted me the other day after one of our shows aired and said, how did she, meaning you, get your name captured by Google and their name doesn't appear? And I said to them, the person, and I'll just say her last name, right? Her last name is Jones.
Oh, well, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, and I'm like, and she really didn't understand it, and I had to give like a little internet lesson over the phone on how this thing works.
Yeah, just look at my name. It looks like you put the whole alphabet up there on the screen.
But there we go. So, folks, thanks again for watching this episode of Checking In, and we will see you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.